Board member, I'm here with an important topic that's impacting our future, our students, our city, and you know the proposal that I have gonna bring a solution, or at least it will help in mitigation of climate change and reducing the carbon footprints. To help mitigate the impacts of climate change, schools will need to reduce their carbon footprints. Most of the time we hear about industry, but we never talk about schools. And few think that impacts big time when it's come down to reducing the carbon footprints, or like heating and cooling that we use in the school, food wastage that we have at our lunch, or buses that we have, and San Francisco School District being one of the biggest school district in nation, we have some moral obligation to support the movement uh, of reducing the carbon footprints. With 98,000 schools across the country, schools are among the large energy consumer in public sector, and it serve over 7 billion meals annually. And you can imagine how much food wastage we get. And again, we talked about the buses, largest mass transit that we see in the schools. So it's time for us to consider the needs and opportunities for school to transition to more sustainable operation, including energy, transportation, and food use. So we're going to talk about where we stand, what we can do, and how we can do, and how is our future going to look like, and most importantly, why San Francisco or SFUSD. I'm gonna take you to another reality that can show you this, like a small video that kind of shows the historical temperature changes at different latitudes. And you can see it starts way back and how it's impacting the whole world, starting from 19th century, 1902. And you can see the temperature rise with the years, and it's had changed. If you look at the two global mean land temperature and global mean ocean temperature, I'll tell you, bar is going up and up and up, and there's no stopping. Both ends, especially the global mean and the land temperature is going crazy. And over the years, greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and the gases have increased. Another gases have increased tremendously due to human activities, like what we do day in day out, and cause rise in earth temperature. Now the question comes in, why San Francisco? Uh, with the SLR action plan, by the end of this century, global heating will cause sea level around San Francisco Bay may rise 3 to 6 feet or more. Again, by the end of this century, and the SF Bay may rise 3 to 6 feet more. Coupled with a more extreme weather pattern, over 6% of San Francisco land, about 4 square miles, called sea level rise vulnerability, vulnerability zone, could be inundated by temporary or permanent flooding. This area is home for more than 37,000 people, 170,000 jobs, and a host of vital infrastructure, including roadways, utilities, emergency services, roads, bridges, transit, parks, open spaces, and Port of San Francisco. And now you can see the sea level rise vulnerability zone, and all these areas in blue indicates that. And in previous slide, we know how many people it's gonna impact. These people are our school district kids, employee, our residents, citizens, stakeholders, and we know how many jobs it's going to impact overall, and how much infrastructure is going to involve. And here's what the triple threat to our city: the sea level rise, rising groundwater, and lowland flooding. And it's kind of like, it's critical, from high major freeways to airport runways, water treatment plants. I mean, it's going to impact everything. And we know that there's a levee upgrade already in the works in many part of Bay Area, restoring tidal marshes and natural wetlands to help absorb the rising tides. It's crucial. We look at the triple threats. Our especially the sea level rise. It will have a big impact on our city. Now, just take a look of the energy uses of SFUSD, or, like, in general, it's like a pretty much a similar profile for all this, most of the school in US, except some area you might have a little more on heating, but you can see the cooling is like 26%. Again, lights, office equipments, heating, refrigerations. I mean, that's our profile overall. How is going to impact? How is the mm, climate change going to impact our operation as a team, as a school district? Right now, with we see with our building, the kind of condition we at, as some of the older building, uh, and we know that it's not energy efficient. That's one. Second, we see our employee getting sick, and we have a lot. Of course, I'm not sure. Like, this could be just one reason, but of course, we have like some of the energy audit data, and that's kind of says that, like, those older buildings, you see more employees getting sick compared to what you have with the newer buildings. So there's some, I mean, you cannot indicate this is what is the reason, but of course there's some indication you have in there. Uh, Employee absence, you see, of course, if they're not healthy, you're going to see more and more staff or teachers are staying home, causing stress uh, to our uh, district budget. Again, low productivity, that's across the board from teachers to students. And very high utilities like electric, water, or gas bills. And and you see how much food wastage we have with our student lunch or breakfast. You understand like how it's turning into the perception in our public overall. So, board members, I have our team have prepared a climate plan for K-12, and it's coming in from Energy and Education 2021. That's the more or less the UN guidelines are part of it as well, and United Nations, even the Paris agreements. That's some of the recommendations are from there as well. uh, and there is a plan for everything we have, but we are recommending having a climate plan for our school district, and this is going to involve the mitigation, just mitigate, adapt, educate, advancing equity, and we are keeping equity at the forefront, like our mission and vision that we have, that we work together up there. Yeah, starting with the mitigation effort. So I'm going to talk series of steps that we can take for efficiency in our electric productions, like use of solar energy and using our roofs, school, building roofs to generate those clean energy, like solar energies. At the same time, making our building like having doing the energy audits, and getting the in making our building more energy efficient in terms of heating and cooling, and relying more on clean energy compared to traditional energy resources. And again, going on to the low food wastage, and we just and we talked about that, how much food wastage we have as a team overall. And another aspect is like efficient transportations, turning our buses in clean energy, having all electric bus compared to what we have right now. And one of the school district, newer school district, have done that, and they have great history of going all electric. So that's a future for us as well. What are we thinking? How are we going to go? The California Proposition 39 will be handy to support our initiatives. It is a Clean Energy Job Act that was created with the approval of Proposition 39, November 6, 2012. Is allocated revenue and to general fund and clean energy job creation fund for several years, up to 550 million annually. For it's available for eligible projects in clean energy, and this whole initiative is going to be a clean energy project, and this uh, funding or California Proposition 39 is going to be very handy on our effort. Now, this is another one that you can see all over. Of course, our country is kind of divided, even on topic of clean energy, left and right. They have their own agendas overall. Here's the pathways that we are proposing overall. for energy saving in our district. And that includes raising awareness and focusing on shifting behavior of staff and students regarding energy saving, effective management of school building operations. And again, the most of the stuff will come from the audit and of course the upgrade that we can do on our equipments. And then offering rewarding pathways rather than we're going to rely on the positive behavior supports. And of course that's why we talked about offering rewarding pathways for energy conservation, and recognizing the employee who are supporting the initiative, upgrading all mechanical and equipments and controls, and practical energy audits, and foster a culture of empowerment for lowering energy footprint. Of course, I'm going to take you to. A quick. Of course, you can watch our long videos that we have that came from Rhode Island. Another school district, that Wilton School District in Rhode Island, they have a perfect example how schools are doing it. Basically, and this is a good example regarding the food wastage.
And rescuing recycled and wasted food. The program will begin momentarily.
So this is what district looked like.
3 years ago, in my sixth grade classes, we went into the cafeteria and we would take bags of garbage out. And I took plastic and I dumped it out all over the floor. And I had the students separate it out into what could be recycled, what was food waste, and what was actually garbage. And we kept coming up with these numbers that were just astronomical. 90% of the bag of garbage could have either been recycled or composted, 95%, really big numbers. And then we started finding whole pieces of food in the garbage, like yogurts that were unopened and granola bars that had never been touched, and all.
So yeah, of course, you can. It's a 6-7 minutes long videos. Whenever you have time, you go through it. And then another one coming in from Rhode Island Foods Summit, and it's regarding reducing, reusing, and recycling rather than just wasting the food. Uh, and it supports the initiative because when we talk about carbon footprints, it involves food wastage as well. Now, the next after mitigation, we have the climate plan adaptations. We learned a lot from the COVID, and are still learning. But one thing that we learned, that's the time that we closed the school and started the online learning, uh, or we were not prepared as a system. We were not ready. And one crucial thing that we missed is mental health for our students, staff, and everyone involved. So when we are talking about climate plan adaptation, that's gonna have a mental health preparation piece. Our school psychs, or we talk about our counselors, social workers. They're all gonna be uh, ready and prepared. Our plan is gonna be ready. We also saw, like, our diverse population is, the issue with the internet and network capacity to support the online learning that was not there in the beginning. So it's disproportionately impacted our students, especially minorities and students with disability. Of course, the preparation of alternative online distance learning preparation, the other key thing that we gotta do as a team. And having emergency communication plan that we learned as a team as well nationwide. Uh, every school district was all over about communication plans, and that's led to a very disturbing board meetings. So that's something we will be learned from the past, and we'll do better in future. Of course, the education piece, and what we're going to bring in the classrooms, teaching and learning on climate change. That's a crucial piece. So our next generation will prepare for the change, prepare, know what we're dealing as a San Francisco as a community, or as a citizen of this earth, what we're dealing, where we stand on carbon footprint, teaching and learning on climate solutions, what we shouldn't do, and how what are things that are going to help us out overall. And again, the teaching and learning on climate sustainability, and we can discuss it a little more on next slide. And again, as a team supporting lawmakers on policy development. Sometimes, people think about corporate, but they don't think a whole lot about the schools. So just let them know that uh, you know, we are at the risk as well, and things start from home, and in our case, things change will start from the school. When we talk about sustainability, this came from UN resolution, and of course, is involved clean water, sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth. A, life on land, life below water. I mean, we're talking about reducing inequalities. I mean, this will have a lot of things. More or less, that's going to impact, not just carbon footprints, but in general, making a better world. Advancing equity. Again, I'm going to refer back to our experience with the COVID-19. Is crucial, or not just this pandemic, but every pandemic, every recession. People from minority background have been disproportionately affected. Some of the stuff that we saw in the beginning of the pandemic, the data that came from even artificial intelligence based tools were biased. And hospitals who are kind of based in minority community, they have no resources like ventilators. Preparing infrastructure to support emergency equally in rich or poor neighborhood is crucial. You can have a hospital prepared, everything if it's in rich neighborhood, and all the poor neighborhoods, or lower middle class neighborhood have nothing there. And again, we saw the AI, the biasness on the AI based or artificial intelligence based data as well. And again, developing a specialized climate change communication education plan for minorities is crucial. So that's where these voices are heard. Everybody's on the table. This is what I have in resources. Uh, you know, Thank you so much. If you have any question, let me know.